How you doing, everybody? Hope all is well. Thank you for joining us today. And I meaning us, I mean the channel. Again, I couldn't do what I'm doing if it wasn't for the people who believed in my art. And obviously, you keep coming back, so I want to say thank you. So today we're going to talk about protractors and compasses and just a lot of instruments of different things that we're going to be using. When you first start off doing your art, shapes are very important. Do circles. Do circles, do squares, do rectangles. Don't ever be afraid to use coffee cans or lids or anything you could find if you can't make a perfect circle. It's very hard. It's actually, we had a contest when I was in college, who could make a perfect circle? And I failed miserably, like very miserably. And, I just wanted to go over a few things that that are like the basics, when you're starting out and even after you're not starting out, you're going to be utilizing all these instruments throughout your hobby, throughout your career, throughout whatever you have. One of the main things I like to do is I just like to dabble, meaning like I'll draw circles, squares. I'm always doodling. One of the main things that I always tend to do is I'm always doodling. Why? It keeps my mind going. So a lot of times you see people use these in math class and just you can use this in everyday life. It's not just have to be art. It doesn't have to be math. And again, the reason I'm showing you this is because circles and squares and dimensions and shading and it all goes hand in hand. And everybody needs a little help now and then. So what I want to talk about today is how do you start off doing just regular drawing, stick figures and squares and moons and trees, and it all comes down to just shapes. You're just drawing shapes. I like to go over a little bit. Basically, what I like to do is I just draw a bunch of stuff and I see what I come up with. Just for fun. Like if I'm doodling or if I'm just making something. This is something that I've learned how to draw. Because I'm not afraid to draw something meaningless. Like just around the circles and just doodling. But again, this is me just telling you that these are the type of stuff that you're going to be utilizing, especially when you're doing your airbrushing. I can't tell you how many times that I had to do a certain spot and I had to go right here to the edge, and I used my my airbrush just to go around that one spot. Or you could use the edge right here where you have the ruler. It's just a little quick thing that I want to talk about. Shapes are very important. When you're drawing, right? The thing I like to do is I like to use my finger as a guide. It may not be a perfect circle, but your main objective is to try to get back to that one thing, and that's why you keep practicing. You keep practicing circles. Let's say that you want to make a square. You can use this as a reference as a square, right? So let's say you want to go like this, all right? Let's say you want to do. You're going to make a square. You're going to make a box, right? So let's say we're going to make a box. All right. So a lot of times when it comes to drawing dimensions and measuring and you don't have to be perfect, unless you're drawing a blueprint or something like that. But when you're doing references from point to point, you don't even have to have a ruler. You could just get something that has a straight edge on it. You know? You don't even have to do that, you know? And once you get better at you know, that kind of development, you could do shading. Let's say that you want to do shading right here, right? Let's say that we want the box to kind of pop out more, you know? So we would have it, let's say that the sun is casting over here, right? So the box is coming off this way. So you would kind of like do a little shading where it's going to come off. It's going to come down. All right? That's how I would do it. Especially when you're doing shading, you know? You know, we can make this into a wall. We can have you know, like a wall, but it's like, it has like a little bit of a corner, right? And this is just basics. This is just like just doodling around and finding your medium, you know, finding, you know, what works best for you, especially with the shading, you know. And then you can use your own imagination. Again, you don't really have to do anything spectacular when you're doodling, you know. The only time you should really be focusing on your art, doing the mainstream stuff, is for a client, or if it's something that you want to do and put it in your portfolio, you know. But this is how I practice, you know. Just like how writers, what they'll do is they'll write like a bunch of nonsense stuff, and they'll do poetry, or they'll do something that they're never going to use, you know. It's just something to make your mind, you know. It's like a pre-workout before you go to a gym, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going over a few stuff that I think is very relevant for anybody who's first starting out. Get used to just drawing shapes, you know. Draws triangles. Use your 1 point as reference, right? Say you want to use your 1 point as a reference. Go down, you know. So, and you know, you can even get more. You can even get more with it, you know. That's not even an even triangle. What you could do is, you can even go and get a measuring. Let's say right here, you know, you want to measure the triangle, you know, so you want to make sure that each side is going to be the same distance, you know. It just depends on what you're trying to do. But that's all I want to go over with today. Thank you.